This review comes from Jaden Piers. Thank you for the request. I remember a while back I came across Nostalgia Critic, and I came across his review of the show Gargoyles. I do remember watching this show as a little kid, and I was really interested in watching it again. So I went out looking for it, and I found 78 episodes online. So I spent much on the weekend to marathon the show. I know there is a comic book series, but I am strictly going off of the show, and this is an opinion piece, so please don't lap down my throat because you don't agree with something. So let's look back at this show, and why it still sticks with me so many years later. Gargoyles was originally aired on October of 1994 on the Disney Channel. Yeah, back when Disney Channel was actually good. Some may say in response to Fox Kids' Batman the Animated Series. Some say this because, like Batman the Animated Series, Gargoyles follows a dark storyline that sometimes can go over the heads of the kids' viewers, with its confusing plot twist and the large character pool. The show follows the present-day lives of 6 gargoyles: Goliath and his friends Hudson, Lexington, Broadway, and Bronx. They awake to find their castle has been moved from Scotland to New York by the multi-billionaire David Xanthos, the cartoon's main villain. There, they befriend an NPD detective, Elsa Mansa, as a connection for them to understand the new world they live in. While there, they have many challenges thrown at them by villains such as Xanthos, Demonia, a gargoyle who lived 1,000 years trying to extract her revenge on the humans for wiping out the gargoyles. The Pack, a TV show cast with a dog motif who have a taste of criminal life. And Macbeth, a former king of Scotland who is immortal, who shares a strange connection with Demonia because of these 3 witches' spells. So the show is pretty much about the gargoyles learning about New York City while thwarting the plans of the villains mixed with the dark stories and the character twist. The characters as a general rule are very well mapped out, with all weaknesses and strength. However, the characters that are the most developed are Goliath, Demonia, Elsa, and Xanthos. Goliath is a powerful and intelligent gargoyle who still has trouble trusting humans for what he was put through, but is still willing to try to believe that not all humans are bad, and that some of them can be trusted. Demonia, on the other hand, is a vengeful and powerful gargoyle who only wants to seek destruction of the human race for what they did to the gargoyles. She does this while also coming to gripes that she and Goliath are no longer a couple. Elsa is a tough cop who would do anything to find the truth of what is going on while caring for her newfound friends, the gargoyles. She also has a sense of humor, but knows when to be serious. She is actually one of the farthest things from being a damsel in distress. Xanthos can be argued that he is not so developed, though in the show he does explain why he created his wealth. He is an evil bastard who borders on being a sociopath and will do anything to get what he wants. However, he does have feelings that rarely come up, but it does keep him human and not a complete utter monster. The only thing that the show definitely had a lot more than Batman the Animated Series is that people died. Died almost every episode. They also had blood and a bunch of things where you would ask yourself, was this really a Disney cartoon? The show was also based on the continuing storyline. Each episode contributes to the whole story of the series, where certain events affect the characters in the future episodes. The animation of the show ranged from okay to amazing. I was delighted to see a show that had such great animation for its time. Some episodes didn't work so well, where the gargoyles looked too cartoony, like these creatures of the night that strike fear in their prey. They don't have to look like a relatively Donald Duck. It's kind of annoying when you see it, but the majority of the episodes were well done. Though I do love the show, it gets dull after a while. The story remains the same after a while. They wake up in the most badass way ever. They go fight either Xanthos or Demonia. They go to sleep, and blatant lesson learned. I guess the only way that Disney Channel got away with some of the material of the show was to have a lesson to teach younger viewers. Like Season 1, Broadway visits Elsa at her apartment after seeing a Western movie. There he finds Elsa's gun and starts to play with it. He accidentally shoots Elsa while she was making dinner. This to me was a holy shit moment of a show where one of the main characters almost gets killed by another main character by a gun. Not only does this happen, Elsa flatlines in the hospital and the doctors have to do their best to heal her. This was heavy stuff for younger viewers. I was crapping myself watching this when I was only 5 years old, for God's sake. But the moral of the episode was that guns are bad, which is good if the show actually uses guns instead of lasers. That's the only thing I never got about kids' cartoons. They used laser guns instead of normal real-world guns. I guess this prevents the gun violence with kids, hoping the kids know that lasers are not real and they can never be played with them. However, Batman the Animated Series got away with using real-world guns, and the show was huge, so I still don't get the point. Earlier, I said this took place in modern-day New York City, or modern-day 1994 New York City because of the Twin Towers still stands. Yes, this was before 9/11. However, if you have the laser rifles, hovercrafts, and the exoskeleton mobile suits, and flying fortresses from the Avengers, I know this is a world of magic, but that doesn't mean that it has to be a world of futuristic science. Like, they established the world can be full of magic because of the Gargoyles and the supernatural creations, and I can believe in a billionaire buying a castle in Scotland and having it rebuilt on top of his own building. But everything else goes out of the window after that. The gene splicing episode is okay because of the cloning was a big issue back then, but leave the laser rifles at home please if you are making a present-day show. The last thing I would love to point out is the romance between the detective Elsa and Goliath. You can tell there is chemistry between them because of the way she is holding Goliath and touching him. You can probably argue that this was also done to make her look more attractive to younger male viewers hitting puberty, which they did a good job on. She was a pretty hot cartoon character. The episode where Demonia summons the character Puck, a dark elf that can grant wishes with a cost. The relationship really shines through with Goliath and Elsa. It just has a bittersweet ending and is never brought up for a long time after it all. Overall, the show is good, but kind of dated. The city in the show is pre-9/11, which brings me back to a happier time before the world went to hell in a handbasket. The lasers are annoying, and TVs and movies are in black and white. The plus side is the show has some dark twists throughout it, with a dark storyline that is rarely in American cartoons nowadays. The animation is hand-drawn and amazing. Sadly, the show does go downhill at season 3, and sadly gets cancelled. Hopefully, Disney does bring back the show, even if it's been over 20 years since the cancellation of the show. So if you're looking for something to spend your back to a simple time for a while, I highly recommend Gargoyles. Gargoyles gets a 9 out of 10. This is Red Wolf signing out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.